there is another dimension, beyond that which is knowledge of man. It is a dimension as vast as space, and as limitless as infinity. It is a blackness between the sun and the moon, between science and superstition, and it lies between all of man's fears and the summit of his ability. This is the space of imagination. It is an area which we call the Sci-fi Zone. Planet Earth is in trouble. The year is 2016, and the journey into space we're about to discuss could be our journey. Welcome back to an exciting new episode of the Sci-fi Zone. And tonight, we'll look at a punk rock epic fight the system kind of movie, SheBorg, directed by Daniel Armstrong. So, the trailer for this movie looked amazing. I mean, I was like on board as soon as I saw the cyborg suit that the character was wearing. I knew this was going to be like really crazy, over the top kind of fun. And I was like, I gotta see this movie, I gotta find it. And this was a really fun movie. It has the fortune of knowing what it is. And when I say that, it knows it's a funny, zany, over-the-top movie. It's not a serious, we're trying to make a movie, it's funny because it's bad kind of thing. No, they know what they're doing. They're making a silly, zany, over-the-top sci-fi kind of epic movie here. It has a lot of like in-your-face kind of gore thrown into it. Somewhat reminiscent of Trauma, but honestly not as in-your-face offensive, just to be offensive, which I really appreciate, because that's kind of one of the things I have an issue with, like with new Trauma movies, is they're just like, every line and every character and everything that has to happen has to be in-your-face offensive in order for it to be funny or something, and that's just like, that's their thing, you know, that's their jam, like, whatever. If you're into it, you're into it, I'm not. That's, you know, not my cup of tea, someone else's, you know, there you go. This film has a lot of leftist punk ideology, which I really enjoyed. Lots of references to the working class, fighting fascism.
Working class is a state of mind. Tell that to the working class.
Relatable, right? Like, fuck me, man. I really love the punk aesthetic. I think it adds a fun, fuck the system kind of tone to this film that really drives it forward in its pacing and comedy elements. In that sense, it works very well for the speed and the momentum. So this movie follows Dylan and her friends, and they find themselves in the middle of this like SheBorg, cyborg invasion of planet Earth, and they decide to step in and do something because no one really is taking them seriously when they try to send up the red flags. The special effects are amazing. Especially early on in the movie with the spaceship scenes. This is where we're introduced to the SheBorg who's creating chaos in the universe. We also get our first real crazy moment in which they throw up on her as a punishment, which affects her skin and kind of does this cool melting effect.
Chaos provide.
Obviously at that moment you realize this is going to be like a gore, over-the-top kind of movie with the throwing up scene, and it never really lets up from that point forward. We're just like in it. We get all kinds of different things. We get vomit, people vomiting on people, falling into space goo being thrown, which is kind of like this green gack foam kind of stuff, laser weapons, which are pretty badass at times, fight scenes that go on way too long, which we'll get into a little later, even dog mutilation, which is probably a line I wouldn't cross personally, but hey, that's me. That's probably about as offensive as this movie gets, as you get like this dog mutilation scene. It's like this dog dying. It was, I don't know, it wasn't for me. You know, it's not my thing. Yeah, and like I said, this film knows what it is. Sometimes it feels like a video game with the quick pacing early on, and you have these scenes, like there's one where they're doing like this pursuit scene where the SheBorg's traveling to planet Earth and this other being is chasing her, and the speed and the music and stuff felt like a video game, and there's other moments in the movie that feel like that. The crash landing scene was pretty cool though, when they land and the special effects, and she like climbs out of the spaceship and there's smoke and fog everywhere and there's this crazy fight scene. I mean, that was awesome. Like, you can tell they put a lot of time into it, and like I appreciate that in a movie like this, because a lot of these like silly over the top movies, you don't get that. And there was clearly a budget here. You know, the SheBorg herself is amazing. Like the work that they did in creating this outfit for the characters, it's so cool. It is so cool, and I really appreciate that in a movie like this. It shows dedication. They know what they want to do. They know what they're going to try to get. So about 35 minutes in, I found it to be a little bit of a drag, as the pacing kind of slows down when they're on this puppy farm and they're in the woods, and there's just like a lot of time spent running around. But honestly, that's not too much of a complaint. It's more of just of something I felt and I noticed when viewing. It might not be such a detriment to others viewing it. But that also kind of brings me to the point of I wanting to talk about these fight scenes. There are a lot of fight scenes, and most of them go on for a very long time. And after they end, they tend to fall into other fight scenes and chase scenes. And I just found myself kind of like falling asleep with it. Like, it's just not my jam. And not to say that the audience doesn't want that, or an audience doesn't enjoy that. I just found myself losing interest during them because they just keep happening after each other and they never seem to end. And they're silly and zany and over the top and fun, but that's also where I kind of feel like that trauma inspiration coming in with these kind of scenes that go on with like this comedy fight kind of stuff, and it's over the top kind of moments. It's just not my jam. Not to say it's not yours or somebody else's. This movie also had some really great funny moments with the dialogue. Like, there's a scene where they're at a bar and they're talking about this puppy mill, and this is how our characters get to that point. They want to shut it down, and this guy's band's playing, and he's like, you know, you like my band? It's cool because I'm a band. And Dylan's like not having it, but he has this puppy mill shirt on, and they do this fun comedy bit with like t-shirts, and like there's always a t-shirt for every kind of cause.
No, I'm not. I'm wearing one of my t-shirts.
One of my designs.
That's where like I thought a lot of these funny moments really came through, with like just making fun of itself, you know, that knows what it is. And it was silly. It was good stuff. I also like the characters. Like, each person seemed to had a decent evolving story and a little bit of an arc. Like, even with Dylan, our main character, you know, she's at odds with her father because he's an authority figure in City Hall, and he doesn't really like her way of life, and she just kind of has this spit in authority's face kind of punk mentality, which I get. I mean, who hasn't wanted to fuck up a police car, right?
Crap my life.
So this movie had a bit of a budget. I realized this when I saw the vamped up police car and a lot of the goo special effects. It's clear that they had money and they knew where to put it for this kind of film, right? It was something. Like I said before, it knows what it is. This is not funny because it's trying to be a real movie. It's funny because it knows that it's a bad movie. Like, it knows what it is. It's a over-the-top sci-fi epic with lots of gore, vomit, and silliness and shenanigans thrown in. So there you have it. Would I recommend it for viewing by oneself? I think so. You know, this is probably about where I would be on the line for watching a movie like this, is somewhere in this realm. I feel like I'm not into like the trauma stuff or the new trauma stuff, you know, where it's just like over the top. But I enjoyed this. I watched it. I liked it. I wouldn't necessarily watch it again, but I really enjoyed like the special effects. I enjoyed some of the comedy dialogue. I enjoyed, that just like, they spent a lot of time with it, and some of the writing was really witty and good. Like, it was good writing. Like, it was fun. Would I watch it as a group? Yeah, I think you could. It's not like I'm gonna watch it as a group because we know it's bad kind of thing, but you can watch it with friends if this is like your kind of thing, like in your kind of movie. It's definitely not for everyone, but if you're into this kind of like knows what it is kind of comedy and over the top kind of aspects, then yeah, you could definitely watch this as a group. So, SheBorg, there you have it. Space epic. It was something, you know? Thanks for joining us here on the Sci-Fi Zone. I hope you come back and return. We're going to watch a lot more sci-fi movies as we go on. And as we mentioned before, we're going to have some new content coming down the line, which I'm really pumped about. Make sure to follow us down below. Like, subscribe, follow us. Tell your friends. We appreciate it. If you're interested in becoming a patron, we have a lot of cool perks right now. We have the Slack. We have a 7 Days to Die video game server, lots of bonus content, bonus podcasts, bonus pre-show stuff, all kinds of cool things for a very, very low price. And it's cool. It's very much a community-based system that we have going here at the Slack. It's all about connecting over bad movies and having a good time. So if it sounds like something you would enjoy, check it out. Check it out. It's very inexpensive, and if it's not, that's cool. At least you tried. No problem with that. So like I said, thank you for joining us here again on the Sci-Fi Zone, and we will see you soon. I love a good cyborg film. I need to find some more cyborg films. Yeah. Maybe something like Nemesis, Albert Pyong kind of cyborg action. I could do that. That'd be good. Nemesis is cool. The first one, at least. There's so many of them now, but I'll watch the first one again. A system in chaos. A cyborg on the run. Planet Earth is in danger. Only the punks can save us all. Fighting against the system. Forever fighting in the Sci-Fi Zone.